Hello, and welcome back to Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast where we provide live audio commentary tracks to Star Trek The Next Generation episodes. My name is Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Erin.
I'm May.
And today we are the Watchers who are watching Who Watches the Watchers. Season 3, Episode 4 of Star Trek The Next Generation. Shawn, how much time is on the clock?
I got 45 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock, and I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
Here we go, watching the Watchers.
Watching the Watchers.
Watching the Watchers. Who watches the Watchers?
If you start doing stuff like that, I'm going to ask you to make a jingle.
So why is she not wearing teal today? I'm pissed.
Yeah, now she went back to the old cat suit.
She kind of alternates back and forth with between those two outfits for a while.
She calls that other one her crazy suit now.
Yeah.
She's
Right.
Going crazy.
Anytime her brain is addled by music box music, she wears the teal.
That's how you know it's a Troy is in distress episode.
Yes.
If she's wearing
Got the teal on.
Oh, this is going to be a bad one for Troy.
That's why Riker was giving her the side eye that entire time on the in the room. He's like, "Oh, she's wearing the teal. Something's up.
Something's going on."
I'm not going to ask, but I know.
So to you Parks and Rec fans out there, that actor he plays the councilman who's racist and old on Parks and Rec.
Oh, crap. Did look familiar.
Uh-oh. Explosions.
Uh-oh. There are the Watchers. And they're about to get watched by the Watchies.
Mm-hmm. That is a bad situation. You're ejected from your observation post.
I like that there was no window. Like he could just roll out of out into the outdoors. I didn't watch this one again, but I kind of remember it. Shawn, what are the stats?
Let's see. We're watching season 3, episode 4. Who Watches the Watchers? Original air date October 14th, 1989. A proto-Vulcan culture worships Captain Picard and prepares to offer Counselor Troy as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Erin, you did not watch this episode.
No.
All right, take a guess. What do you think?
I'm going to say 7.
It's got Leland Palmer in it.
Meaning I should rank it higher?
No.
I say 7.8 because I refuse to believe people thought this was worse than the last episode.
Oh, right. The other one got a high rating.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 7.9 just to
play it smart.
Mess with
Just
Jake.
the price was right, Jake.
Yeah.
7.
May?
7.
8.1.
I won.
It sounds good.
It
It's
is
a good
pretty
episode.
good. It's a classic Prime Directive episode. They're meddling around in a primitive culture, and they have to decide what they're going to do to undo the damage that they've caused.
Yep. So a couple things about this episode. It was filmed at Vasquez Rock, where the Gorn
I was
lives.
going to say the Gorn. When they showed that
Yep.
scene, I was like, Gorn.
That's it. That's the place. So and a dozen others.
Lancaster or something?
What's that?
It's like Lancaster area?
It's
or
near Santa Clarita.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, Ray Wise, who played Leland Palmer on Twin Peaks, is in this episode. So
Yep. He's like the main guy, if I remember.
he is.
it
Yeah,
right.
he's the main.
The main
And
alien.
Does he play
Pamela Adlon is in it. The
Oh,
voice
nice.
of Bobby Hill herself.
Nice.
Oh. Crusher still got her bad wig on from last week.
Yeah.
They haven't fixed that problem yet.
There they are. There's Ray Wise and Pamela Adlon.
Yep. There they are. This must have been right before Twin Peaks, right? Twin Peaks is
He was 89, so
90.
yeah, 91, 90, 91. Yeah. This is what David Lynch saw that said, he's going to be my killer.
He's got a lot going on in his face. Like, even below the makeup, you can tell.
Yeah.
A lot of character happening under there.
He's in RoboCop, Ray Wise.
Yep, that's true. He's one of the bad guys.
Maybe that's what David Lynch saw. Do-do-do.
So, anyways, they're fixing shit. And the Watchies have seen them.
The Watchies have seen them. The same thing happens in Insurrection. Almost the exact same thing happens.
Pretty much the same plot. Yep. Although those people aren't primitive.
No. But
What's Insurrection?
it's one of the movies. Star Trek Insurrection. It's one of the Next Generation movies.
This guy in this, it kind of looks like an actor who's married to Lisa Rinna. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Harry Hamlin.
He looks like Harry Hamlin. But only when he's an alien.
Only when he's made up to look like a Vulcan.
The Vulcan makeup.
This guy goes full zealot in this episode. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, pretty much the entire society falls right into praising a god pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What do they like about him? What do they glom onto?
Well, he thinks he dies, and then they bring him back, and thinks he's been brought back to life.
Oh,
And he sees all this like crazy
sure.
technology, and there's a robot guy.
Look at that.
Like, oh.
Data's just like, oh no, what's that guy doing? Oh no.
So,
Data is not in this episode enough.
It's mostly a Picard episode, right?
and Troy and Riker.
Yeah. Erin, do you care what's going on? Do you know what's going on? If I asked you to describe what's been happening so far, what would you do?
I don't really understand why there's watching.
That's
So
a
the
good
Federation.
question.
So the Federation has a little thing up on that rock. It's a little outpost where they're observing these people who live on this planet. This pre-space flight race planet.
Troy said Bronze Age.
The Bronze Age people, yes.
And so the Prime Directive means that they aren't supposed to expose themselves to cultures that don't have spaceflight yet, right?
I see.
That's one of their big rules.
They're not
So
supposed to show their penises to them.
Correct.
Or anything. Really.
They opened the kimono too wide.
They're not supposed to show any of their parts. But their little hideaway malfunctioned and they got exposed.
Got it. That's
so now that alien dude, Leland Palmer, has realized that there's what he thinks are sort of god-like people. He doesn't understand that they're just from the future. They're just advanced. And so he's going to worship Picard like Picard is God. And Picard has to deal with this planet of people treating him like he's a god.
It's a good premise.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
It's not the first time he's been mistaken for a god, and won't be the last.
Mm-hmm. They replaced the squirt bottles with just gels of goo. Behind Jean-Luc, there's just like colored goo.
Oh, look at the screenies.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like those, like, when you go to a Mexican restaurant and it's like a big barrel of like horchata.
Yeah.
Right. With a spoon in it, a ladle.
Or like Orange Bang.
Orange Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Next generation screenies do not even hold a candle.
No.
Screenies.
It's really
They're so
sad.
disappointing. Like they're really kind of pathetic looking.
Clearly, the people who created Next Generation did not have the same love for Screeny that we had watching the original series.
Right. You mean our all-time favorite character? And all
Yeah, I mean, clearly they don't understand the greatness that is Screeny.
Screeny was a little wobbly there. Did you see that?
Yeah, did.
Screeny's attached to the bed. He's not on the wall.
Somebody didn't nail that piece of plywood down hard enough. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you don't see the Vaseline camera very often.
No, that's a weird one.
This is how I picture Picard every morning when I wake up. Sunbeams
foggy haze.
Yeah.
Gently caressing the curves of his head.
So I'm almost done with my watch through of Parks and Rec, Jake.
Yes.
Good times.
Glad to hear it.
I'm just about to finish season 6.
Oh wow.
I had to get the 7-day free Peacock subscription so that I can finish it. I've been plugging away this week.
Nice. Good man.
So I got to the Cones of Dunshire. I finally get the reference.
Yay. Oh man, classic.
And they brought it back. I was so impressed that they brought it back. It wasn't just a setup.
Yeah.
It became a plot point later. It's awesome.
Nice.
That one just said hello, mother. I didn't realize it was going to be a vulgarity. I apologize. What do you suppose epic sax button is? That's pretty good. I like that.
I just assumed it was going to be the start of Careless Whisper.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a good choice, too.
That's the one they put to the video of Gandalf nodding. You know that meme or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's good things.
I have a hard time watching Ray Wise in anything now because he's so Twin Peaks in my mind.
Yeah, sure.
Whenever I see him in anything else, I just think about it makes me think about Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
You killed your daughter, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's playing a nice person in this episode, but I'm just like, he seems evil to me. I don't like it.
In the next scene, he's going to have all white hair and it'll be okay again.
Yeah.
That's why he was good casting when they cast him as the devil on that show. You remember that show?
Reaper? Was that what that show was called?
Yeah. That Reaper.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
I never watched it.
It didn't last very long, but I liked it.
No. People liked it that I talked to about it.
It was during that era when the CW, before they got into superheroes, were just like trying anything, like any idea for a show. They would be like,
young people in it. Put it on the air.
Yeah.
We're going to have shows like, what was that, Everwood or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Everwood was great, though. That was a WB show.
Oh, that was even pre-CW.
It was pre-CW. That was a great show.
I'm thinking about One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill, that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
There they are.
Look at those shorts he's got on.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is good.
He's got shorts and boots, and then there's just like 2 inches of knee. They're just exposed.
I think he's got like stockings underneath the boots.
Oh, he's got leggings or something on. I see. Yeah.
But he does those hard shorts.
It looked like he's just his legs for a second there.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
His legs have got to be hairier than that, though. He's a hairy man.
That's true.
Those would be very smooth legs for Jonathan Frakes.
Well, maybe he shaves his legs. You never know.
I suppose that's true. I do not know. I do not know the current status of Jonathan Frakes' hairiness.
Why not?
I'm guessing it's high. That's all I'm saying. So what the hell are they doing? Why are they down there?
They're trying to go. They're trying to find. There's another person from the lab that's still missing.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to look for him, and they're like, we can't just go down there. We'll screw things up even more. So their plan was to go in as, another
natives
from another village, coming in, and they're like, we're visitors.
We're visitors from across the river. You wouldn't know us. That kind
exactly. Yep. And he's telling the story of the Picard.
Right. He's like, I went up to heaven and I met God, and then they sent me back to Earth. Sent me back to whatever planet this is. Not Earth. He looks like he's about to kill somebody, though, because he always looks like that.
Yeah, constantly.
Poor Ray Wise. It's like one of those things where it's like you do one part and it's like you can't ever shake it.
It'll be the first line in his obituary for sure.
It's
And
like
he hated it. He hated that he was the killer. Like when David Lynch told him that it was him.
Because he didn't know right away, I guess.
No, he didn't know. Nobody knew because it was this huge mystery.
Well, they probably wanted to keep it under wraps too.
And when they finally, like David Lynch finally told him, like, we're going to reveal the killer, and it's Leland. And Ray Wise apparently was very upset because I've heard him talk about it. He had like just had a daughter or had a youngish daughter at the time, and he didn't like that Leland was ultimately the killer, even though Leland was being possessed by an evil spirit,
Right.
so it wasn't. Yeah,
it's not his fault.
It wasn't really Leland's fault. But still, he didn't like having to do it. You know,
the scene he dies, the episode where he dies, right when he gets unpossessed and realizes it's so good.
Yeah. Where the sprinkler is sprinkling on him, and he should have won. He should have an Emmy for that performance. It's a great.
He should have won an Oscar.
Emmys.
I mean, they should give Emmys to.
They're like, we overlooked this back in 19. Yeah. You get a. I guess that's the.
Oh man, if they started doing that, my God, can you imagine retro Oscars?
Yeah, who would you give your first retro award to?
Everyone involved with Twin Peaks. You know, Kyle MacLachlan should have one. Ray Wise should have one. Cheryl Lee should have one.
Gremlins 2. Gremlins 2 should win all the Oscars that year.
Oh. Man, I think we're onto something. I think all awards should only be given away that way. We need some distance.
Right?
Retroactive. It's all. They should be like 5 years away from.
Yeah, it should always be 5 years later that you do the awards for that year.
Probably not a bad idea because you're right. It's like. Sometimes things just get stuck in the hype and it's like, how the fuck did Forrest Gump win Best Picture?
Yeah, or like, La La Land or something like that.
Sure.
It's like,
but even La La Land, like when you look at the competition, think about what Forrest Gump was up against. It was up against Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Quiz Show, I can't remember what the other one is.
Good year.
I mean, come on, like.
Yeah, but of those, like,
what would you pick?
I guess Pulp Fiction. I'm thinking like which one has had the most staying power, right? And I guess I would say it's either Forrest Gump, in which case they chose the right one, or it's Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I think Shawshank is more because Shawshank was like that was like TNT and like they showed that on TV constantly.
Yeah, I suppose, but they didn't make like a bunch of Shawshanks. It wasn't like one of those movies. Whereas there were lots of sort of Forrest Gumpy types of things that came along.
I was like, Forrest Gump too.
Have
you ever read the book Forrest Gump? It's very different from the movie.
Yeah.
It's much more.
So it started as a book, at least the character.
Yeah, it started as a book.
It's a lot darker, right?
It's much darker and much more kind of cynical and not nearly as like I'm just an innocent bumpkin, like it's much darker. And they took all of that stuff out when they made the movie. So then that guy wrote a sequel book that talks about the fact in character. He has Forrest Gump talking about the fact that they made a movie out of his life and took all the dark parts out of it.
That's funny.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
That's been Forrest Gump Corner, a newly registered bit on the show. I hear a cat.
It's Patchy.
Should I play the angry cat meow? Can Patchy?
Let's see what happens.
Put him right up next to the speaker.
Getting scratched out. She's looking towards it. Okay. She's suitably tortured. She's still boring now, but she was like, "What's that?
Like, what's that sound? I don't like that." I got distracted. I wasn't paying attention. What's happened? They found their guy.
Yeah, they found the people found the guy and brought him. So now Troy was like leading them away so that Riker could beam away with him, but they caught him. So now she's kind of screwed.
Oh, they've taken her prisoner?
Well, now they have, yeah. Because they were already kind of worried about them. Because
they were suspicious of their cover
Well, when
story.
they got there, they immediately were like, "There's no gods. What are you talking about?" Like, they immediately started to like
try and undo the damage.
Yeah, Leland Palmer's plan, opinions about it, and they're like, "Why are you guys so?"
Exact fucking rock that the Gorn was on. That one right there.
Right? A rock.
That is the rock.
That is the angle of that rock.
Yep.
Every planet in Star Trek looks like this.
Because they were all filmed at that same. I think they're all filmed there.
We should. You know what? We should picnic there. Can we picnic there, you guys?
Probably. I'm sure it's a public. I'm
safe. Can we go? Can we make that our warped field trip one of these days?
That would be fun.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Do a little bonus episode.
Min could climb some rocks. There's lots of rocks to climb up there. Oh, look at that. Wrecker's like, I'm just going to hide in here and zip out. But he left Troy behind.
Yep. Couldn't get her out.
And they can't just beam her out because they don't want him to see that they have magic powers. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So that's why he had to hide when he beamed out, so that nobody would see him vanish.
She's like, I guess this is my life now.
I guess I'm a Min Tonkin from now on. Guess I'm going to have to marry Ray Wise.
You guys need a counselor? I can sense people's emotions.
It's really good at it.
It's pretty useful sometimes.
You have stress and anxiety in your life? Because I am professionally trained to help you with that.
I can at least detect and identify the stress in your life.
Right. Yeah. She's pretty good at helping people with it too, I think.
Yeah.
She's good. She's good at her job.
Yeah.
This is a show about people who are good at their jobs. Nobody on this show is bad at their job. It would go against the ethos of Starfleet to have somebody who's bad at their job.
Right.
On the ship.
Yeah, the only time people are bad at their job is when they get overly emotional about things.
Or possessed, or,
Well, sure. When you're dealing with an energized cloud, anything.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
That guy who was working with, what is it, the Traveler? He was not great.
That guy? Oh, who
was like super into his own.
Sure, his warp speed efficiency.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, but he was good at warp speeding.
Yeah.
He just had no people skills.
Hmm. Yeah,
you sound unconvinced by
no, I mean you're right. You could definitely say that about a lot of people.
There he is, pulled down the shirt.
Oh yeah,
drink, everybody.
Drink it.
We told you when the new uniform showed up, he was going to be doing that a lot. So be prepared.
I like it when he does it when he's all like humph, like it's like.
Oh yeah, when he does it as a statement move.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they look like they have so much more room to move around in those outfits now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can see actual folds.
Yeah,
folds
exactly. Yeah.
They can breathe now.
I mean, look at Riker.
The balls aren't constantly being pinched.
Riker's swimming in his outfit.
Yeah.
It's getting bunched.
Jonathan must have lost a few pounds that week.
He likes to keep it loose. It's easy to take off.
He never gets the bloat factor quite that Shatner gets, but
Frakes
has a tendency to girth out every once in a while.
I love this. I love it when Jean-Luc gets to deliver a big morality speech.
Impassioned morality.
So good at it. He's like, you want me to send these people into ignorance and fear, and I won't have it. Great. Patrick Stewart's great at that stuff.
This is their solution is classic. We'll show them how the magic works. Beam them aboard.
Right. Which is breaking the Prime Directive even more, but
sure.
But
like they said, once you've broken it, it's like, it's like the opening scene of Heat when the guy shoots the first one.
Oh, then you have to kill everybody else.
Just kill everybody else because you've already murdered one person. No reason to leave any eyewitnesses.
Uh-huh.
So once you've broken the Prime Directive, might as well go all the way.
Yes.
This is one for the fans because it's like we're putting you in her shoes and we're taking you on tour of the Enterprise.
Yes, right. Let me show you this part and this part. I do like his Picard's, the way he explains it to her is pretty cool.
He's good at explaining stuff.
Well, they still have the same guy. He was there in the last episode.
Was he?
Don't know where Chief O'Brien is. He's
still wearing the old school uniform. They didn't give him... Extras still had to wear the old uniforms. They didn't have enough for. They didn't have enough for everybody.
Uh-oh.
You too can take a tour on the Enterprise this summer at Universal Studios.
Right. Universal Studios.
It's the Las Vegas. It's the Las Vegas ride.
But you know that there was a time when they had a show. Universal Studios where they would take people from the audience and it was Star Trek themed. They like dressed up people from the audience in Klingon gear.
Yes, I feel like I've seen that. And they recorded them saying Klingon stuff. And
then they would like video, they would do the classic where they would have them like run one side and run to the other side as the ship was being shot. And then they would sort of, at the end of the show, they would piece it together with like clips of the show, and they would show you like a little 10-minute or 5-minute movie that they made.
Yeah.
From the audience.
Yeah, I do remember that. I never got picked. It always pissed me off. I didn't.
Yeah. Yep.
Where was that at? Universal?
Universal Studios, yeah.
Yeah,
it replaced another show where they had a similar show at the same place that had run longer, and it was the same basic premise, except it wasn't like themed around anything particular. It was just kind of a bunch of classic movie trope type scenes.
Yeah,
that they would bring people in. My dad got picked. One of the jokes of that show was that there was like a little bratty kid that wore like a Buster Brown outfit and a big lollipop, and they would always bring a dad to play that part. My dad played it once.
Nice.
That's cool.
Which was pretty cool.
Did they give you the video at the end? You did. Or did you have to pay for it?
Or I can't remember. I'm sure you had to buy it. I know we had it. I remember watching it. Like, we used to show it to people because my dad was in it.
This is reminding me a little bit of Star Trek First Contact, where
it is very similar. Yeah,
he shows Alfre Woodard the view from space to convince her that he is who he says he is. What a good movie that is!
I can't wait.
It's so far in the future.
I was gonna say, what are we talking about, guys?
It's years away. Years, multiple years.
So you guys are saying this is both like First Contact and like Insurrection.
I'll bet we're closer to First Contact than we are to the first episode of Star Trek at this point.
I don't think so, because I think you have to count those DS9 episodes too. That's going to push it out. That's going to push it out farther.
That's true.
If you're talking real world time, like how long before we get to see it, it's further away than you think, because DS9 is going to kick in season 5, and it's going to double the workload.
The workload, sure.
It's going to double the time frame before we get to the next thing.
To the end of seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, but it'll be fun when these little sessions where we do 2 at a time, where we watch one Next Generation and then we watch a Deep Space Nine.
That will be fun, actually. I agree with you.
What?
That will be a lot of fun.
Overlap? No.
Yeah. Yep.
You're going to have to track two
No.
sets of characters at the same time. You'll love Deep Space Nine, though. Deep Space Nine is terrific.
So the whole reason we started this whole thing was so that I could talk about Deep Space Nine.
Oh my god!
You could have just done.
I know what I could have done.
It all comes out.
Yeah.
I know what I could have done.
But we all know what he had to do.
Well, what did we do? We did what we did. Okay, you can't go back in time.
No, that's true. Sorry, I didn't expect to get such a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animated series is behind us now, and there's no.
I know. Oh my
Come on,
god.
it's all up here, right?
It's all in the rearview mirror, you guys. Let's not
read of Next Generation. This is the golden era of Star
What did
Trek.
Madonna say? Absolutely no regrets.
That's right.
We can't be relitigating the past on this show.
Can't go back in the past. The rough stuff is behind us. It's all glitter and gold for a while now.
This is a terrific episode for Patrick Stewart. We're kind of missing it because you can't hear the audio, but all the stuff he's telling her about, like the technology and the future, it's all just great. Patrick Stewart, great.
This is a great moment because she just said, she says, I can't wait for our people to go above the skies. And he's like, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Just looking at your mind is so strong that your people will be there before our people got there.
Because he understands what that feels like. Like his whole backstory is that he always dreamed of being a Starfleet captain.
Yeah.
So he gets it when people are like, we want to explore the stars too. He's like, yep, I understand. Kirk would have taken her with him in the old days. Kirk would have been like,
no, he would have slept with her back on the planet,
had some babies,
her, and then never talked about her again.
Mm-hmm.
Although this episode, we missed it because it was towards the beginning, is the first time that they referenced Dr. Pulaski since she left the show.
Oh,
they did? What did they say?
They did. They said something because they're talking about like saving someone's life and how they could wiping his memory. They're talking about how they're going to wipe Ray Wise's memory, and she talks about, I know what the Pulaski maneuver is, or whatever it's called.
Pulaski method or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know that I can do it as well. And she does not, because he remembers everything.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all. Like, he remembers everything.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, it does not.
It's not
work.
even like she got rid of part of it. Like, he remembers every single thing that happened.
You have to have a very specific part of you that's dead inside to pull off the Pulaski.
Right. You have to have a complete lack. You have to have a complete lack of humanity and compassion.
you got to be bitchy to anger.
Gates is too. Beverly's too nice.
Beverly's way too nice for the Pulaski maneuver.
She took the little like glowy medical device and went whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Good enough. It's white.
Pulaski would have been like, no, you got to get in there and like.
Was there an episode in season 2 where she wiped someone's memory and that's what they're coming back to?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
There might have been.
They talk about it, and Picard's like, "Oh, I know it too well," and I'm like, well, "Really? You remember it all too well? What the hell?"
Do some stuff to him.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, during the Save Picard's Life with medical stuff episode.
Yeah, but she didn't wipe his memory, did he? I don't remember.
No, that was about his heart.
Wiped.
That was his having a heart attack.
Guys.
All right, I'll correction corner that someday.
There you go. Do you have a corrections corner this week, or?
I don't. I didn't get around to it this week. We could do recommendations corner if people want.
Oh yeah. Anybody?
Jake, play the jingle.
Recommendations.
You guys, The Muppet Show is on Disney Plus now. The original old school Muppet Show.
Oh, nice.
All 5 seasons, never been available before. And it's on there now. And I watched a couple of them yesterday, and it's the best. Muppet Show is the best.
It is.
That's good.
So good. And it's such a time capsule because it's all,
all the guest stars.
All the celebrity guests are like people from the 70s. So like the first episode was Rita Moreno, and the second episode was Sandy Duncan.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is amazing. It was so good.
That's
and
great.
it's such a classic. It's an actual variety show that just happens to have the Muppets in it, right? Because they do like songs and they do the whole.
What year did it start?
Like 77 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like late 70s.
Yeah.
So we must have all watched it in reruns, I'm guessing.
I remember watching it as a kid, but
maybe we watched the later seasons as kids.
It must have been syndication because we wouldn't have been old enough to watch it when it was on.
Mm-hmm.
And remember it anyway.
Was it on prime time when it was on?
Yeah.
Cool. That's really fun.
That was my big recommendation.
That's excellent. I'm gonna start watching that. In fact, bye guys. I'm gonna go.
Let's do a Muppet Show podcast.
Muppet Show. Yeah, that'd be good.
Let's do the Muppet Cast and just watch Muppet Show episodes.
And then we can do the movies and.
God.
I've said this many times. The first Muppet movie is the best children's movie ever made. It's the best children's movie of all time.
It's great, no doubt about it.
I was waiting for pushback on that.
I'm just trying to think.
All shut down.
Well, it's not. It's a.
I put a flag in the ground.
I know. I'm trying to think what I would if I could counter with something.
You guys, I've heard really good things about Paddington.
Come at me, Mo.
Oh yeah, Paddington 2, you guys.
Paddington 2 is right up there, but I don't think it's quite as good as the Muppet Movie. Babe is in the top 5 for sure, but I think the Muppet Movie is better. What I like about the Muppet Movie is the lo-fi puppetry of it. That it's not CG, it's old school, and I like
it's also got songs. It's got an amazing soundtrack.
Songs.
Would you count The Wizard of Oz as a kids movie?
Sure.
That would be my top movie.
Yeah, I'm not the huge Wizard of Oz person. Like, it's fun.
I'm into it. I think for females, it's a Dorothy Gale thing. There's not a lot of leading ladies.
I kind of don't like the message of The Wizard of Oz. I don't like that she goes back home at the end. Like,
you're like, this place is awesome.
Oz is amazing. Like, it's like when you
why
leave
wouldn't you want to stay there?
Like, if I think about leaving Fresno to move to, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I moved to Los Angeles for a reason, because I wanted to live in the big city, right? And I guess Dorothy doesn't have a choice because she gets sent there without, consent. But I still think it's weird that at the end she's like, what I really want to do is go back to my black and white Kansas Dust Bowl farm. Like,
is it? I mean, that's the whole thing. Like,
well, she's having
Is it supposed to be a dream?
Yeah, I think so. Because the characters in Kansas are in The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
I know.
Film trip. She goes through that field and it gets a little weird.
But no, because there are sequels where Oz is real. Where
she goes back.
She goes back.
I don't know. I don't really.
There are other characters.
I'm really keeping up sequels, but
I mean, it's not. He wrote a bunch of Oz books. It's not just.
Yeah. I mean, the second book, the sequel, it's another character that goes to Oz.
No, it's not Dorothy.
No, she's in the she goes back in the third book. The book that Return to Oz, the sequel, is based is actually the third book.
Mm. Yeah. Anyway, I think the Muppet Movie is better than the Wizard of Oz.
I would agree with you, at least personally.
I mean, it's partly nostalgia because I was a kid, and
Sure.
and that movie was new,
Sure.
so I have built-in affection for it. But I've also watched it recently, relatively. Ooh, Picard just got fucking
Yeah.
shot. Did he hit him in his metallic heart? Kill him?
It got him in the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
But now they're showing that he can bleed. And Leland Palmer is very sad.
Picard, yeah, he's always sad when he kills somebody, but he doesn't stop him from doing it. He always feels bad afterwards.
Oh man.
So Picard's whole point was, I have to prove to them that I am not a god, so you can shoot me to prove that I
was
can
the plan. Yep.
Well, it worked.
He said, look, I'm not a god, but if getting killed is the only way you'll prove it, then go ahead and shoot me.
So now they all understand that that they're just...
And now they're just pissed that they're being watched, because that's creepy.
Well, they're not going to watch them anymore, I think. Isn't that what he's saying?
Yes, that's the whole thing, is that they're dismantling the Watchtower.
We're going to leave you to develop in peace. Although you now know about the existence of space aliens, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it is a good question. Why do you watch us? What could you possibly learn from us? And he's like, so we can learn about ourselves. But what possible could they learn that they don't already know about the past human existence?
I think it's to see how different civilizations develop differently, right? Like, not every civilization grows and changes in the same way. So
sure,
I imagine it as like an anthropology kind of thing, right? They're watching these different cultures to see, some cultures become peaceful and some cultures become warlike, and some cultures become capitalist, and some cultures become socialist. Try to understand how these things happen. That would be my guess.
This little cloth will appear on Picard's chair inside of his ready room, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he puts it on the back of his chair, and it's there forever, right?
And it's even in the movies, yeah.
Every once in a while, Picard gets a trinket, and then that trinket will like return in future episodes. He has a flute, pretty famously. He learns.
Yes.
So it's pretty good. Arguably the best episode of this show there ever has been. I'm throwing hot takes, you guys. I'm getting.
I know.
We're like, agreed.
You're
saying the food episode is the best episode?
Yeah, I think that.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, so that's cool.
It's hard for Erin to.
It's hard to describe. Yeah, I know. But
that is a great
rest of you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. It's a great episode, but I would make it.
I would put it pretty close to the top, if not at the top.
Well, what is that? Season 6?
Maybe. I don't know.
What is that episode called?
Inner Light.
Inner Light.
One of these days, we'll have to make a list of our 10 favorite Star Trek episodes.
Ooh.
Won't that be fun?
That will be cool.
Sure.
I like making lists. So ask me about my favorite children's movies, for example.
Well, we know what number 1 is.
Yeah.
Anybody else like to give their number 1s?
Erin said Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Jake?
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to say Paddington 2. I've just heard great things.
Mary Poppins was up there for me.
Pick a movie you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Best children's movie? Watership Down.
Citizen Kane. I heard it.
Well, now you're just being intentionally confrontational.
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like the original Tron stands out in my mind.
That's a really good movie. Sure.
I wouldn't say it's. I mean, it's about a video game world, so I'll say that one's like for kids.
Yeah, it's a kid. I mean, it's a Disney movie. It was definitely for kids.
Yeah.
Shawn, what's your answer? You've had all this time to think.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll think of something else. But...
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that's a pretty good choice. Hard to argue with Little Mermaid.
Definitely my favorite Disney animated.
You know what's amazing about The Little Mermaid? It's 87 minutes long. It's barely
That's what I love about those.
And it's so perfect.
And
that's what cracks me up. We were talking about the remakes, the live action, or whatever remakes.
Yeah.
They're all the same story, yet somehow an hour and a half longer. Because Beauty and the Beast is it's like 90 minutes long, and somehow the remake is 2.5 hours long. It's like, how the hell did you do that?
It's. I'm kind of dreading this Little Mermaid remake that they're doing, because that's exactly what I'm worried about. Is that
who's
it's going to be
playing the mermaid?
I forget her name. I don't know. She's like a singer, like a young pop singer.
Yeah.
And she's playing Little Mermaid.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm worried that it's going to be 45 minutes longer than the original, and I know they're writing new songs for it, which could be good. If the songs are good. But I don't know. I don't feel like that story needs a lot of padding out. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It doesn't need new songs.
Even at 87 minutes, there's stuff in there that doesn't need to be there. Like Les Poissons does not need to be in The Little Mermaid. It's just there because it's a fucking banger. And they were like, let's have a song where the French guy tries to kill the crab. Like, that scene doesn't need to be in the movie. But it's brilliant.
David Diggs is playing Sebastian.
Great.
Aquafina is playing Scuttle.
Great.
Melissa McCarthy is playing Ursula.
That I'm not sure about, but go on.
Javier Bardem is playing King Triton. Jacob Tremblay is playing Flounder.
That's perfect.
Halle Bailey is Ariel.
Halle Bailey. She's in a pop band. Girl.
She and Chloe and Halle.
Chloe and Halle, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the Halle of Chloe and Halle.
So.
Yeah. Chloe X Halle, actually, that's what they're called.
I don't know any of their songs. I just know that they're a thing that exists in the world.
That was one of May's recommendations recently.
Was Chloe and Halle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I already forgot, and we just talked about it.
Yeah, they're very
weeks.
They're new in the grand scheme of things, geologically speaking.
Well, the episode's over, you guys.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks. That was a good one.
Watchers were watched, and then
we watched the watchers,
and then they were unwatched because Picard said we're leaving, and we will no longer be watching you. Watching is over.
Yeah, that one was a banger, as Chloe and Halle might say.
Was it a banger? It's a pretty good episode.
Yeah, good outfit.
I like Prime Directive episodes because they give them, there's interesting little moral quandaries that they have to deal with in those kinds of episodes that I always kind of enjoy. Hey, so that's it, right? We're done.
Unless you have any more recommendations, shut it down.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I don't know why, but thanks. And please go to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe. We are on Instagram at Warped the Podcast, and our merch is on Instagram at lunar_flare. You can email us at warpedthepodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Warped Trek. I am on Twitter at Host Warped. Min is on Twitter to talk about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu live streams and podcasts at Wet Maynard. And you can go to patreon.com/warped, become a subscriber. and get access to more of this. Even you can get more of this. In case this wasn't enough, there's more, but you have to give us money,
and it costs you money.
It's too hot for the internet.
It's both. It's both more and expensive, which is just what everybody does. Tune in next week for episode 5, and
it's completely unapproved and also mostly unedited.
It's pretty unedited. That's true.
You might even call it rough.
If you want to listen to us play Only Connect, the Patreon is a good place to do that. Until next week, my name is Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Erin. And I'm Meg.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.